Okay, it looks like you're live, Betsy.
And to the republic
for which it stands,
one nation,
one nation, under God,
God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you very much. At this point, I'm going to, it's a town supervisor's report. You know what's missing from here because of the last meeting? It wasn't on there. Before I proceed to the town supervisor's reports, I'd like to have a motion that we approve the town board minutes, town board meeting minutes from January 21st and December 17th, 2020. And I'm sure the board members have had a chance to go over it, look at them. Could I have a motion to?
Yeah, I'll make that motion to approve those minutes from both those dates, December and January.
Is there a second? I'll be a second. All in favor of approving those minutes, say aye.
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 All right, motion carries. Any nays? I didn't hear any. I heard all ayes, so motion carries. Thank you very much. Those meeting minutes have been approved. Now I'll give a brief supervisor's report. I did want to say, I do think if we were all together, we would stand at this point, but I want to take and have a moment of silence to really think about our federal government and our ability to get these vaccines out to everybody. We have some Unionville residents who are really extremely concerned and have a lot of terrible conditions that might and are worried about actually dying from this disease, and it's causing a lot of stress. And I just want a moment of silence to just hope that they all get their act together and get our residents what they need so that we can get past this moment. Can we have like 30 seconds to 45 seconds, please? All right, thank you. I do hope we did have some success this past week when one of our families who was desperate got into a pod and was able to get a vaccine for a disabled daughter. And the reaction on email was, "This is the best day since since the day we got married. This is the best day of our life," you know, that kind of thing. And it's just a really anguishing time for everybody. A lot of our residents, more so than I thought, but we're starting to hear from a lot of them. The next thing I wanted to talk about would be to move things along a little bit. We did have a change in our meeting tonight. I had told some of you, including Alfreda Tillman, who I think is on, that we were going to have the library architect present. He and his partner that he was going to present with, they were in separate places. They had snow-related problems, so they couldn't present. So they're going to be presenting to the small Unionville committee, or the group that's been sponsoring these guys and moving this initiative forward. They're going to present to them in the next week or so, and then they are going to be at our March meeting. So that will be a great thing. So sorry for that. We were very hopeful that we'd be able to see the plans. They're done. You know, their preliminary drawings rather are done. And we'll have that in March, and the group will be there with them to give us some of their thoughts. I did want to go over some financials with you. You know, January is never a big month financially because it's the first of the year and a lot of things don't come in. We're about on track with what we did last year. We're ahead of what we did in 1919 at $130,000 for the month of January. But that's aside from property tax that was collected. Interestingly enough, we collected 559,000 in property taxes, and it was over 600,000 in the last 2 years. So we're about 50,000 behind, but I'm sure that'll catch up. That'll catch up between the next, especially in February, that happens a lot. As far as cash balances, we have general fund in total with investments and checking and savings and all that. We're at 2,678,540. Our highway fund still has $422,000 in it. We have a total of 3,100,576. And a lot of that is going to be, a lot of the highway stuff, all the highway stuff should be spent. And we're working on, I'll be giving Ed Kading's report because he was out working on snow tonight. I'll give that in a few minutes. I also wanted to share a few points, a little bit of communication and some compliments, two things that are important. First of all, I got a really nice phone call from one of the commissioners at the fire district complimenting our team headed by Jake Gosnell and our maintenance guys, Tom St. Ange and Adam Pratt, for doing such a phenomenal job on the snow removal. I thought it was really nice. He went out of his way to call and say they were just extremely pleased. I'll say if Councilman Welsh has anything to add to that, he can do so. But I thought it was great that he did that. He said they were just, over the moon, excited about it because it was better than they thought for some reason. But the guys were pleased to get that compliment, and I passed that on. The other thing I wanted to share was, because we don't get these very often, you deal with complaints a lot. And, but this came from Tom Dwyer, another member of Unionville Fire District who was moving. And he wrote a nice email, said, Betsy, I wanted to call your attention to the exceptional attitude and responsiveness that George Kolb exemplified with me. Despite an atrociously busy schedule, he was able to rearrange his inspection such that he could inspect my house yesterday. The inspection was originally scheduled for next week, but my lawyer indicated that the buyer's mortgage commitment would expire today, and hence we could lose the sale if we were not prepared to close. George, with Joy's assistance, no doubt, with Joan, was able to accommodate my request for an inspection yesterday, making today's closing possible. Another example of exceptional response and services offered by the town staff. All the best, Tom Dwyer. So it was another lovely message. I wanted to pass that on and share that with the board. Also, just an FYI, some communication that came in. The United States Census is asking us to do our boundary and an annexation survey. It requires us to answer a lot of questions. This stuff that we get in the mail from all around the state and the county and the federal government is incredible. Anyway, we've got to go through some boundary information that we confirm for them, and we will take care of that. I just wanted to make everybody aware of these wonderful requests. Also, Central Hudson is reminding all municipal officials that natural gas is the most popular home heating fuel in America, and it is supplied by a pipeline system that is among the safest and most secure methods of transporting energy. Central Hudson operates more than 2,000 miles of natural gas pipeline in the Mid-Hudson Valley, including transmission, distribution, mains, and service lines. The point of this 5-paragraph letter is that it is extremely important that we remind all of our staff and, of course, the residents to dig safely. And they want to make sure that everybody knows to dial 811 or go to digsafelynewyork.com. And that this organization will contact all participating agencies if anybody's going to dig anywhere. They've got a great safety record. They don't want to have anything happen to jeopardize that. And of course, it's obviously, it's a very unsafe thing to do. So those are little reminders for our staff and for the residents to know that they can go through that. I think that I did, I thought maybe we'd send out a little write-up, but we were, nothing has really changed. We're still waiting to close our books out entirely because we had some bills that we just got in and they haven't been put into the numbers yet, but we're really close to what I told you before. We ended up losing about $244,000 at the end of the year in cash. But because our expenses were held down so nicely by our staff at the end of the year, that we came out fine. The staff held down expenses to 84% of what we budgeted, so we were not in the red. But I'd like to get the finals with all those bills being paid from 2020 before I give you exact dollars and cents. So I think we're off to a good start this year. We're a little under in cash, but we'll see what happens the rest. So at this point, the rest of the, each month you'll be getting those reports. At this point, I want to turn this over to any board members that would like to speak. Let me start with, in the order of the boxes I see to the right. Councilman Welsh, would you like to make, oh, wait, I'm sorry, I forgot something. I forgot to tell everybody that I went to those two days of Association of Towns meetings, and I got some phenomenal reports. I've sent a lot of them out to town board members, study documents, a lot of interesting things there was a few things on land use that were great. They did some things on cyber. They did some things on cash flow, which, we're really, everything I read, we do already. So we're good there. But there were some interesting topics about public speech, which I thought was fascinating. Public speech on government land and how to handle that. And I've got all that information. Any town board, if I didn't send you all of that, I tried to get a lot of it loaded up. Town board members, I'd love to share it with you. And any other topic you might be interested in if you looked at the list. We didn't really push this class because it was all video. It was all on Zoom. But it was on my calendar, and I remembered at the last second that I had to sign up, that I had to attend. So I did go, and I do have a lot of information and would be happy to share anything beyond what I already sent you. So anyway, that's that. Councilman Welsh, let me turn this over to you.
All right. Yeah. First, I want to say thanks for sending that information for the Association of Towns. I've been delving into it. I got a lot more to go through, but like you said, there's a lot of worthwhile and pertinent information for our town that is good that we have available. In addition, I've been reviewing very carefully the Town of Beekman website and their comprehensive plan in relation to our annexation project, and trying to get good insight into what they have in writing and what their plans are in the past or in the future, so we have a better handle on how we approach completing the annexation process. And as you mentioned about the highway, guys, I just want to confirm that Ed and his team have been doing an outstanding job. Someone that, as a first responder, someone that's on the roads all the time, I really want to thank them for doing such a great job. For example, last week, the roads were very slippery until I got to Unionville coming from Route 9 area. So they're on top of it all the time, it seems, and we really get a good result with their efforts.
That's great. Thank you. That's terrific. All right, Councilman McGivney.
Yes, as John said, I'd like to give praise to Ed and the guys at the Highway Department for doing such a nice job on the roads and keeping them safe. They're out there tonight pushing the snow once again. We had a bunch of storms. And they're doing a good job, so they deserve praise. And that's all I got.
Great, thank you. Councilman Durland?
Sure. How we doing, guys? Betsy, as you know, a resident reached out to us maybe sometime last week about the flag issue, I guess, on 55, or not necessarily an issue. I guess there's an older flag that's at the recycling center, and this resident brought up maybe he would like to be a part of a fundraising campaign to either replace that flag and put a new pole up, much larger pole with a nice flag, and or put one across the street where the new solar farm is. So I've been speaking to him, and we're just trying to work out, what may work best there, and then see if we can't present some sort of fundraising campaign maybe next month.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to know what it costs, because you can get between the poles and the flags, it can't be that expensive, right? I mean,
like depending on how high you want the pole, it's a couple $1,000.
Yeah, it's interesting. I talked to the solar developer and said that we have a councilman working on this project that about flagpoles, and it raised a couple of interesting questions. One, in town hall, we were saying, wouldn't it be nice if there was a flag, an American flag with the Unionville flag underneath it, or that would look great because we have one we could duplicate the one in the meeting room, and also some people would like to have a really nice a sign at the gateway, or not the gateway, but wherever the fence is, where there's a driveway, probably for the solar development, letting people know the name of it and, some information about it. But as far as the flagpoles go, the only comment that the solar developer made was if we would work with them on placement, because depending on how high it is, it might be so high it doesn't matter, but they don't want any shadows on their panels. So that was their only issue. They thought it was a great idea. So I'll look forward. I mean, I think if you need to see what the costs are, that'd be great.
Yeah, I started looking up all that stuff and sort of pricing things out. We'll present some options and see what we think.
That's great. Thank you for doing that, Councilman. That's terrific. Right, Councilman Frazier.
Yeah, I'm just going to echo what everyone else has said about the highway department and include our parks department in that as well. There's certainly been a busy season so far, and it doesn't look like it's going to end anytime soon. So sure appreciate the work that they do for us.
That's great. Thank you very much. It echoes everybody's thoughts there. That's wonderful. All right, gentlemen, thank you. At this point is the normally would be our highway superintendent's report. I've got some information from Ed Kading. And one is he wanted people to know that they are taking the salt and they are mixing it with, I think it was sand, so that they can get the salt. They're trying to cut the salt down about 25%. So get about a fourth of it, get it reduced so that it's not so much white on the roads and, you know, injurious to vehicles and that sort of thing and plants. So they've worked on that, and they said it's still retaining its usefulness. He also wants everybody to know we have we're down, the highway labor is down about 25%. And so of course Ed is out there taking on more. He's got a route that he snowplows, but he also is taking on more, as are the other guys, since they've got a drop in. We have a gentleman on vacation, and then I believe that gentleman is going to be leaving us soon permanently. So, you know, we'll be looking for an additional staff. Right now we're down 25%. Ed wanted me to mention the 284 agreement, which is, as those that are listening in knows, that the 284 is the document that gets approved by the town board in order to spend funds for the highway department. He has to come and show us what he wants to spend the money on and how much it's going to cost. He's not ready to do it yet. He shared with us in January his plan on what roads he would like to do. But before he finishes pricing it, we were waiting to hear what the governor's budget said. And I think what we know about the governor's budget is right now that he cut out the executive budget of the governor, cut out the EWR, that Extreme Winter Emergency Fund, which is about $19,000 for us. So if we can confirm from the DOT, and I work with Ed on this because I'm calling him for him while he's out on the road to confirm that the financials are in place. If we can confirm that the CHIPS money and the other money is going to be in place, then Ed's going to finalize his plan. He's just a little hesitant to do so until he knows exactly what he's got reimbursed. We're also working on another joint project, trees and culverts. We need to take an inventory of both. And we've kind of expressed before, I think I shared with you what Ed was worried about in an earlier meeting, the last time it snowed and he couldn't come. We've got a lot of farms with 100-year-old trees that he's starting to become increasingly worried about because of the where they're close to the road, leaning over the road. So we're going to go ahead and embark on an inventory of older trees and then assess them. He'll rank them as he wants them to be ranked. And same thing with the culverts. We've got a partial inventory. We're going to finish the inventory. I'm going to have my department, we'll put it on a spreadsheet, and then Ed will assess them. And then in the midst of all this climate smart stuff, we found out that it's really important that actually we do stuff like that for the climate smart activities that we're involved in through the CAC and our climate smart community coordinator. And the reason we're pursuing this stuff, and we'll take any equipment or they said they might have some things that could help us with those inventories. We're going to take advantage of it if it is something there, because the more of these climate smart community projects that we line up, this is for our benefit, but they give us points for it. And the more points we get, the good thing is that we are going to be in a good position to get grant money. And we're hoping to get grant money to help us pay for things like, you know, a bunch of old trees that have to be cut down. We have a limited budget, and also the culverts, you know, he's looking at a lot of those. So it's an area of concern for him. We'll keep you posted, but those are things that are on his plate right now. Okay. Clerk Casey, would you like to give a town clerk report?
Yes, so we've been very busy in the recycling department. It had an outstanding month in January. I'll just read you some of the totals that we had for the permits. We sold 183 resident permits, 81 senior resident permits, 105 non-residents, and 6 firefighter permits, which totaled 29,631 just for permits for the month of January. So
yes,
in February we had a lot more. So you'll be getting those numbers next month.
That's fantastic. And I see you in our tax collector at the window. People are coming and freezing to death, and you guys throw the window open with your jackets on and get them whatever they want. And I think people are really appreciative.
Yeah, we're able to still service everybody despite all of the restrictions. So we're glad to do it.
Yeah, and they seem thrilled. They really do. So thank you. Thank you both. Okay, was that it? Yep. Andrea?
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
I'm all set. That's all for me. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Public comments on agenda items. Did anybody sign up to talk, Andrea?
Glenn did have a comment. I'm not sure which section because it was prior to the agenda. So if you want to check in with him now.
Is he listening? I think he's
Yeah,
listening.
Glenn, are you there? I know you're here, but
Yeah, I'm here. I can wait to the end.
okay.
Is it an agenda item or a non-agenda item, Glenn?
It was a it will become a non-agenda item. It was a library question.
Oh, okay. All right. All right. Thank you. All right. Then at this point, we should pursue departmental reports. We really have, I'm going to do that one and then go back to, I believe Aki Bush is with us for the CIC, right? CIC, is Aki still there? Yes, great. Okay, Aki, let me give the animal control report. And it was just so brief that I thought that we would then I'll turn this over to you for the CAC. Mary Jean Calvi submitted this report for January. There was one found dog, one lost dog, 2 animal complaint calls, and 1 miscellaneous wildlife call. Respectfully submitted, Mary Jean Calvi. So hopefully it was a real quiet month because it was so cold. At this point, I will turn it over. There were no other departmental reports because we've been doing a lot in recreation, getting ready for the summer. And we're going to start going through that with the town board in March. So there's a lot of detail coming. So at this point, I'm going to ask our councils, as in CAC, if Aki Bush wouldn't mind giving us a report, that would be terrific.
Thank you, Betsy. I would be delighted. The CAC has been forging ahead with text narratives for the 19 Unionville maps for our National Resources Inventory. After being away on paternity leave, our DEC consultant, Nate Nardi-Cyrus, is back on board with us. And we're working on sections regarding soils, topography, aquifers, wildlife habitats. Obviously, it's not just about writing the text narratives, but about data collection and finding the sources for this information. So pretty much like everything else in life, it's taking longer than we had thought it would take. But anyway, we're on it. And I just want a quick shout out to CAC member Jen Rubo, who on behalf of Unionville was awarded the New World Foundation Local Champion Grant to support Climate Smart Community, to be the Unionville's Climate Smart Community Coordinator. So she'll be working her way down the checklist for bronze certification. And she'll also be putting together a CSC task force. And I will let her tell you more directly herself about the initiative she's pursuing, I guess not at tonight's meeting, but probably in the March meeting. And then I think really the only other thing I want to tell you about is that CAC member Rachel von Wetberg is in February working on our summer events, possibly a lecture in the early summer about invasive species in the town and how to combat and otherwise mitigate their proliferation, whether it's mylominate vine or bittersweet or stiltgrass or Japanese knotweed. And the presentation she's planning on in June may include a walk through Timor. Also, she's helping to put together a program for the Timor 50th anniversary in August. She's been talking to town historian Fran Wallen and our town treasurer Jane Geisler regarding a presentation they may make about the history of Timor Park and the old furnace down there. So that's what she's working on. And we have not gotten any new projects from the planning board, but we are ever ready to tackle whatever they bring to us. So that is my report.
That's excellent. Thank you so much. We appreciate all the work you guys are doing, and we'll see Jen in March. She's definitely coming.
Good. Thank
you, Aki. Appreciate that.
Yep.
Okay, at this point, we're going to move on to old business. Quick updates. I at one point it said we'd keep workers' comp, our exit from Dutchess County's plan on the agenda until we were completely exited. They haven't gotten in touch with us, nor have they've not reached out at all, but I'm sure they're mulling it over. It's a complicated subject.
I think they were stifled by Neil Connolly's letter.
Yeah.
That was so overwhelmingly good. I don't know what they could say to defend themselves, really.
Yeah, you're probably right. They're studying every word. But we will keep you posted. I spoke with Neil today, and he has going to let us know if he should hear from them first. And as soon as he does, I'll pass that on. The next order of new business is solar development on Route 55. I love the fact that Kevin Derlin is working on those flags, because we did have a complaint from somebody about the flag across the street at the recycling center being so, weak. The construction, and with a new flag in front of it, would look really nice. It looks like they're thinking, by May, they're definitely going to be up and running. So we were talking about a ribbon cutting. So one of the things I wanted to throw out there to the town board, that we can develop this further at a work session or the next town board meeting, that sort of thing. But sometimes, a lot of these places will have a ribbon cutting just to bring attention to it. And then, to thank a lot of people. And I think in our case, I mentioned this before, but they are more than happy to have that. And, it would be brief, but it would bring a little bit of attention to it. And it'll explain to some of our residents again, exactly what's going on, because they do still keep asking, which is interesting. I did want to point out one other thing. So we were told we had 400 to 500 slots, as far as community households that could join the project. And then at that town board meeting, when we had Malcolm Bliss from Common Energy on, and Will from Eastlight Partners, I think that night they said we had 175 slots. So I spoke with Malcolm Bliss this week. We are down to 75 slots, households. So people have been jumping on it. So we're really, it's nice. And I think that they did point out that it's a good thing for farms and places that think that they're commercial, not good for restaurants, because they're great. They're set up differently. They're not set up like households at Central Hudson, but it's definitely good for farms and for anybody and even Sky Acres, their lighting, for example, might be under a different code, which would enable them to benefit. So hopefully we get all 75 slots sold and people are happy with their discounts. That was it. Under new business, we have the Furnace Pond Dam in the survey. So I wanted to ask the town board, I sent that survey, does everybody have, I don't know, you all got it, I sent it to you. Just to take a look at, it was quite simple. And I wanted to know, we have two things going on. One is we've got our report, which you received a couple of weeks ago from the engineer on the proposal for the boring test. And I hope you've had time to go through that. It's a little premature still, and Mark Carabetta said he's happy to come back on and talk to us about it. So I think we should, since it's so early and it's so cold out, there's no action that's going to be taken. We can invite him back so you can ask him questions. That's the first thing. The second thing is it might make sense to go ahead and get that survey out that we wanted so that the residents can respond to it. Did the town board members, did you have time to look at it? And did you want to make any changes in it? I guess would be my question.
I would say I like the way it is. I don't see any need to make changes at this point. One minor suggestion, maybe put a picture also of the pond when it's full, so people can see how nice it looks.
Okay. That's a good idea. I have to find one of those. I think we have them around. We'll get one. Okay. Well, this is something anybody else have any comments? Any other councilmen have we had already, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I think it's great to get input from members of the town, on what their feelings are with the dam and how we should go forward.
Great. Yeah. I think we discussed this a couple of times before and we wanted to do it. And I think the experts' advice is to keep it simple. So it was a straightforward dam. And then if they wanted more information, if they want to talk about it, we'll get them to engage at the town board meetings and stuff, I think, or to call any of us on the phone. How about Councilman Derlin? Any comments, or Councilman Frazier? Anything you'd like to add? Otherwise, I'll just go forward with this tomorrow.
No, I say move forward with it. I was just pulling it up so I could review it again, but no. I think we're good.
Okay. All right, Councilman Frazier, anything to add, or are you good?
There we are. Yeah, I'm fine with it.
Okay, all right, hopefully we'll get some, at least, we'll get some information from it, and we'll leave it open for a month so people can, those people, as they hear about it, they can pass it on and request it and go online and that sort of thing. Okay, we'll take care of that. The next thing is, the master fee schedule. Okay. This master fee schedule, we review it once a year. And like last year we looked at it, I don't think we had any changes. And I sent it to you with things in red that the various departments felt needed to be clarified or changed. One of them was in our, see hopefully you have it in front of you, the
The
foiling
foil copies, right?
Yeah, the foiling copies. We have in our org meeting a resolution that says 25 cents a page, $5 for a CD, and $30 per hour to assemble if it's quite voluminous. And that call would be based on the foil officers. That would be the foil officers' call. And we have two people that respond to foils in this town, and that is our town clerk and our building department. So George Culp. So we added the $30 per hour to assemble because that's consistent with the resolution passed in January. Under the dog permits, Mary Jean Calvi wants to impose a local impoundment fee of $25. Now, if somebody's dog gets taken over to the Dutchess County Animal Shelter, they're going to pay $50 for the first retrieval. And she said that she has several dogs that are repeats, and she keeps them at her house, in those kennels that the town put in. And she wants to charge $25 for the repeats. And she said, by the way, 9 out of 10 times they're out of towners. So, so that's why, and it's not listed, but we decided to put it in so people would know that, when she charges them $25, it's a sanctioned $25.
Yeah, I think that's a reasonable amount and a good idea to put that in there.
Okay, that's great because apparently it happens more than we're aware of. Mr. Kolb in the building department, we had asked him to analyze and basically the red under the building department, excuse me, were his, these are areas where he's spending an inordinate amount of time. And he felt like, for example, the new construction for a new house, he said is unbelievably complicated now because of all the requirements that New York State has. So he has to go back repeatedly. He thinks instead of 75 cents per square foot, $1 per square foot is reasonable. He also said that he has a hard time with pools from the perspective of in-ground pools, especially. He'd like to raise that permit fee. It's a flat fee for $350 up from $250. He said sometimes he's going back 5 and 6 times. The people just don't know what they're doing, and he's got to go back to make sure it's safe. And the above ground, he doesn't have to go back as much, but he says that he thinks that because he's spending so much of the town's time going, that this should be more reflective of, and also more reflective of what's in the market there. So those were his suggestions. We made some changes to the equestrian center. We've had some requests to have weddings there, and people want to cater it and do, farm style weddings and that kind of thing. So we felt like it's not just an afternoon or an hour, which, a whole day. There's a horse show, they rent it for $250. But if somebody wants it for the whole weekend, we have to hear a lot of details and find out, what they're bringing and will it damage anything, et cetera, et cetera. So we just listed as negotiated. We adjusted down the fee for seniors to go to get a pool pass for the season. $25 for residents and $50 for non-residents. It was a little bit higher. And so that they felt like people were complaining about it a lot. So we adjusted it down, especially for the residents, for $25 would be great. And we listed kids 2 and under free because that wasn't listed and they get that question a lot. The recreation fee is $4,000. We added per lot. By the way, I think I saw one of our neighboring towns went up to $5,000 per lot. So interesting. And we changed the town board application fees down at the bottom of this page, as you can see, because it came up where somebody at one point was hoping that the town board would change the code. And I think we had changed the code to accommodate them. And at that point, we had $500 for zoning law text amendment and $1,000 for a district map amendment. We can't even come close to, it's going to cost us a lot more than $500 to do a zoning law text amendment. So we decided that we would just pass on whatever costs they are. And that would be a fair way to handle it. If somebody wants us to change the code just for them, we may not do it. I'm not saying that any board is the town board is going to, that's something that has to be taken under advisement. But I think we should, if it's for one cause, we should reimburse the taxpayers for the exact amount that we had to spend.
Yeah,
So,
that's only fair.
yeah. And those were the changes.
I agree.
Okay. We can sit on this and vote on it next month, or if you agree with those changes and you're comfortable with them after the department had submitted them, then we can vote on this now.
I'd like an opportunity to look at them closer.
Well, we've had
Okay.
this for a while.
Do you have what are you looking at, Steve? The changes, you mean? Because the fee schedule.
Correct.
Because the only changes were the ones in red. All the others are the same.
You can sit on it, but if you sit on it, that means, the month you're sitting on it, the old fees are still in existence, just so you know.
Yeah, I kind of agree with Steve on just looking at it a little further. I'd like to look at some of the surrounding towns, building permit fees, just to see if we're in line. Maybe we're under, maybe we're over.
And what would that mean? Would you want to raise them or lower them, or?
Well, I'd like to see what other surrounding towns charge,
Like on
where
new
you said we're-
construction?
Yeah, you said we were charging the 75 cents a square foot and going up to
Right, and-
$1. I'm just kind of
George has
curious.
made a good case that he's frequently spending
No,
a
I
lot
under-
more
I
time.
I understand that, but I'd like to compare it. Maybe other towns are charging $1.50 for all we know. I don't know. I'd like to kind of compare it to what other towns are doing.
Yeah, I think some of them are. And I also think from what George was telling me, because you're right, Kevin, he did do the research, but he also, interestingly enough, he was telling me that some charge a flat fee. And he said they would be, like his might end up being 3,000 or even 4,000. He goes, but a lot of the towns he was checking on, he goes, I think they start at 5. So you will find that, but feel free to do that. And then, so we will wait until March. If you have any comments between now and March, so that we make sure it gets passed, because we don't want to be at a lower level, should we be at a higher level. Let me know and we'll put them in there for everybody to see early, okay? We can send that around. Okay, now, next up then, policies and procedures. Now, at the December meeting, and I went back, you saw it in the minutes, I'm sure, when you read them. We were, you guys were going to go back and look at the ones that are on the website. These are the ones that we like to review every year, and then we usually put a cover on it that shows the history of how, every year that we have them. And that includes the credit card use policy. I'll start one at a time. Did anybody have any changes to the credit card use policy? Because that one has been working really well for us, I can say. Okay, the next one is the financial control policy. We reviewed it last March. And if you want to postpone this and vote on it in March, that's fine too. But since we started talking about it in December, I just thought if you're ready, we'll proceed, but we can wait till March if you're not. The financial control policies and processes, we worked hard on that one as well. Does anybody have any tweaking or any comments?
They seem to be all in order.
Yeah, I think they are good. Financial processes for the town clerk and the tax collector. So one pager.
On that one, Betsy, didn't we add a new way of paying taxes this year?
We did.
Shouldn't that be in there?
Yes, let me just look. Yeah, it could be in there.
I think we ought to add that.
Okay, let me add that. I think one of the main reasons we added this is because the auditors and insurance companies and stuff were more concerned about cash, but I think it's good because we do talk about deposits to the bank and all that stuff. So we can.
Yeah, I think that'd be good to include that.
Yeah, it keeps it updated. E-check and credit card for tax collecting. Okay, I'll add that and then we'll put that on the agenda for next month.
Okay, yeah,
The next one up is the procurement policy, which Steve Fraser worked on initially, and then we tweaked it. We didn't really tweak it, but we have looked at it 3 years in a row. So I think we're probably in good shape there. I just want to remind everybody that, we have this procurement explanation form if anything is a little bit off, the policy. So, and we do require it. So I'm going to send this out and remind the department heads of that. Any tweaking there? Are we good?
I think we're good. It seems to be working well. I don't know if anybody else has any concerns, but it was well done when it was done, so.
Yeah. All right. I don't have any. If anybody else does, speak up. Nope. Okay. And then the cybersecurity citizens notification policy. We also have a IT security policy, which wasn't on the web. So we're going to talk about that later. But the cybersecurity policy, this is to notify, I did find a typo in it. So we changed the typo. I don't think that the substance changes at all. So we can still vote on that tonight. There was just a typo. We also added the cyber security. There's a command center. So this policy tells us this is what we're agreeing, that we all agreed to, that we would do to notify if there's any kind of a cybersecurity, if there's a hack or confidential information gets out. And so what we added to this, just for us, to use, is the cyber command center, the phone number and the hotline, and how we get a hold of that cyber command center in New York State, so we can promptly confer with them, and they'll help us figure out what to do depending on what our problem is. So anyway, we added that to the back of it, but that was it. So if everybody is good and you don't have any comments, anything, we will pull out tax collector from the financial process, and town clerk. They're both on the same. We'll pull out financial processes. We'll add that sentence so you can see it. Send that out in March. I'll give it to you at the work session, and then we can vote on that. Okay?
Sounds good.
Okay, so next up, well, I've got motions listed. The fee schedule we'll do in March. Can I have a motion to approve the policies and procedures as specified just now?
I'll make that motion.
All right, is there a second? I'll second it. All in favor of passing and approving the financial policies, or the policies and procedures as just reviewed, please say aye.
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 Aye. Anybody opposed, say nay. The ayes have it. That motion carries. That will be updated in our books and online. The next one up is the resolution to approve retention of counsel for annexation proceedings. That is resolution
2124, right?
2124. Okay, we're going to have a discussion. Councilman Welsh, would you like to read resolution 2124?
Yes. Resolution number 24 for 2021. Resolution authorizing retention of counsel to initiate judicial adjudication and determination in proposed annexation of Timor Park parcels. Whereas the town of Unionville has been served notice that the town of Beekman has rejected the town board of the town of Unionville's determination that the proposed annexation of 5 tax parcels in Timor Park located in the town of Beekman is in the overall public interest, and whereas the town board of the town of Unionville resolves to pursue by Article 17 of the General Municipal Law the annexation of the 5 Timor parcels located in the town of Beekman for reasons presented at the joint public hearing in November of 2020 and specified in resolution number 23 of 2021. And whereas the town board of the town of Unionville has been made aware that to mount this legal challenge, it could cost as much or more as an Article 78 defense, or $30,000 approximately. But as of yet, the expenses are still uncertain. And whereas the town supervisor will report the estimates and final tally of annexation-related legal expenses during the financial report section of each board meeting. Now, therefore, be it resolved in the matter of Unionville's annexation of Beekman parcels, The town board of the town of Unionville will retain Vanderwater and Vanderwater as legal counsel.
Thank you, sir, for that introduction. Is there some discussion?
It's the next logical step in what we've been doing, and I think we should proceed.
Yeah, I think it's good to keep moving forward, and this to me is very straightforward. We should definitely pursue it for our own benefit and the residents.
I agree. I echo all those sentiments.
I do too. I will say, I don't see, I don't see us, without our independence, I don't see us, we'll never be able to stop the intermittent taxation. We'll never be able to take charge of what's our responsibility, over there. And it makes, all of us nervous about the responsibility with regard to the dam. I think, looking at the history of the taxation is kind of gut wrenching, and I feel actually bad for our residents over the years. And I think to spend that money is worthwhile because we will forever protect them for the future. And I think, I feel good about this, and I hope we prevail.
Yeah, and it'll be nice to have it done before the 50th anniversary celebration in August. It'll be nice to announce it at that point.
I don't think they work that fast, but wouldn't that be awesome?
Yeah, I hope they can work fast.
Yeah, I hope so too. I just, the legal world is all backed up. They're just opening up our court next Wednesday, in March, and it's been closed for 3 months. So I'm sure the rest of them are as backed up. So anyway, if there's no further, Councilman McGivney, I don't want to cut you off if you wanted to add anything.
No, I'm in complete agreement. We need to be able to manage our infrastructure, and have access and rights to our park.
Right. Thank you very much. All right, may we have a roll call vote, please?
Was there a second for that?
I'll second it.
Okay, great.
Roll call?
Councilman Frazier,
Aye.
Councilman Dorland,
Aye.
Councilman McGivney,
Aye.
Councilman Welsh,
Aye.
and Supervisor Moss.
Aye. Excellent. Thank you for that introduction again. Resolution 24 of 2021 passes unanimously, and we will pursue this path and do the best for our residents that we possibly can. Okay. At this point, I think there is a motion that would be, I put in on the agenda that we actually approve the survey for feedback on the dam through a motion. So Councilman Durlin, do you mind making that motion?
Sure will. I'd like to make that motion to approve the survey for feedback on the dam.
All right, is there a second?
I will second it.
Thank you very much. All in favor of distributing that survey as soon as possible, say aye.
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 All right, there are no opposed. Right, I'll say aye as well. Motion carries unanimously. Okay. At this point, I would like to, just for the record, just remind everyone that we have, they've gotten on email the abstract, the list of the bills, and you got the most recent escrow report, which we are going to actually pare down because there's some things that have been sitting there for a while. And so we're going to work with the planning board and the zoning board and asking them to add some language whereby there's a cutoff if an application has been sitting there too long so that we can refund some of this money. That doesn't need to be sitting here longer than 6 months. It sounds like 6 months is what the planning board is thinking. But you've been given that report so you can see some of the aging and why we're asking them to put that in their policies and procedures. And you got the other normal cash receipts and that sort of thing. And of course, the building department's report, which has started off pretty busy again this year. George has really been gangbusters. And with that being said, can I have a motion now to approve all the warrants and pay the bills?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, sir. That's all in favor of paying the bills?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. Unanimously passes. Any public comments on town issues? Mr. Morrison, is this a section you wanted to talk?
Uh, you hear me?
Mr. Moore, yes,
Yeah, great.
we can hear you.
Thank you. Well, technology snafu here. Yeah, first, let me kind of echo Kevin McGivney's comment earlier. Kevin mentioned it's a good idea to get resident input. This was kind of referring to the remediation of dams. So I think the survey is a great idea, and I commend the board for moving forward with that. I'm actually here, was here to learn more about the library, the long-term plans, but I do understand that weather can get in the way of that. So I'll be back next month. My question is actually a library question. Betsy, you mentioned back in November timeframe that there was kind of a volunteer group. You referred to it as early adopters that were going to get together to kind of talk about and look at what's currently available online. And I haven't heard anything else. So I was hoping maybe someone could provide some insight into who that group was, and what the outcome was.
I think it wasn't a group. It was a volunteer that wanted to assemble a group. She was the one who discussed assembling the group. And she's been, I don't know, something came up and she begged off. So we obviously let her beg off and told her that we would have to revamp a couple of things and then she could come back. Actually, we put in a call to her this week, and my guess is she'll be back. Now we're starting to add audiobooks and that sort of thing, since they weren't readily available on the website. I think the idea was early on between Kathy Wellman and this woman who was volunteering, who will be back soon. She had said that the idea was that to run it more like a concierge service, so that we have the ebooks on there. We'll add a few audiobooks, but we'd rather go out and get the audiobooks as people request them, as opposed to, buying 100 of them and have nobody be interested in the 100 that we happen to purchase. So we're going to use it more. We're going to develop it more like a concierge service. That's really what's available now, and that's what they're going to be working on. So I understand that the audiobooks are going to be there going to be a smattering that will be shown. And I think what's interesting is on the website, they encourage people to send in requests, and people don't send in requests. Actually, I'm wrong. One DVD request and then one leased book request. So what we're hoping is that now that COVID's over and people have been doing a lot of stuff at home, people will come to the website and then submit their requests. So that's really where we're at. And I think the audiobooks will be added probably early next week. And I think that then that woman may be working, she was going to reach out to some people. And I think with that on there, along with Canopy and the other things that are there, I think then she'll feel like she has a full slate that she can actually have the early adapters. She's going to pick a group of people herself and work with them. We were leaving that up to her. So I don't know who that group will be or was. Maybe she's already started talking to them, but we'll probably have her back in here next week.
And if someone wanted to participate in that, is that something she's open to, or is she just going to choose people?
I think we gave her leeway to do what she wanted to do. And I think she already had 5 people she was interested in, but I mean, that's a volunteer effort. You can run your own group too, if you wanted. She's doing that on her own to help and to make the ability to get these things, more customized, so that when people say they want X, we can actually get X for them. But if you want to set something like that up, you can do that also. I'm sure you have 5 friends that might be interested in. I know your wife was the one who was interested in the library, Glenn. Maybe start a Glenn.
Yeah.
Certainly.
I mean, you and I went back and forth on something related to ancestry.com as an example. So it doesn't make sense to me to have multiple groups. So I guess what you're saying is the effort really was delayed.
The effort was delayed by at least 2 months. By 2 months, I think we had 2 medical issues back to back. But it's not over. It's not dead. But I think a second group is fine. We're going to have those drawings soon, and people will look forward. We'll have a sneak peek, and then we'll have them at a board meeting. And that group was they're really excited about jumping in and getting people to go out. They want to be able to go out and ask for donations from places that actually donate money, and possibly individuals who might donate money. And I think they're very excited about that. And I think a second group like yours, focusing on different things where we could customize it for us would be great. I mean,
Yeah, I'm not averse to doing that.
Okay.
I don't want to duplicate effort. However, I mean, can I talk to that person?
you know, Glenn, I think I will ask her, but I think you might consider doing your own thing with a different group, because I think what we're hoping to get is diversity of thought. So I think that would actually help if you would do that. I will ask her how she feels about it, and if she's okay with it, it's fine with me. It wouldn't, matter to us, but we'll have to ask her permission first. Because again, it's a volunteer.
I understand. So I'll just let me know one way or the other way. How about that?
Oh, that sounds fine. I will let you know as soon as I speak with her and ask her. But I just kind of would like to encourage you to start something. I think it'd be great to get more than one group interested and that would give us feedback. I think that would be great. So please keep your mind open to that. I think it'd be really helpful too.
Yeah, not a bad idea at all. Thank you.
Alfreda's on the line. She would join you. She'd be a great addition. Does anybody else have anything they'd like to say? Thank you, Glenn, for speaking up. Alfreda's muted, so I'll assume not. Okay. May I have a motion to adjourn this meeting then? Thank everybody for coming.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, sir. All right, this meeting is all in favor, I'm sure is an
Oh,
aye.
yeah.
Therefore, this meeting is adjourned.
Thank
Thank
you
you,
all.
everyone. All right, see you, talk to you soon. Be safe. Bye now.
Bye.
Bye.